Good evening, and welcome to Horror Historian. My name is Amanda, and tonight we'll be discussing the 1955 thriller, The Night of the Hunter, a movie that as a child I saw and developed a crush on Harry Powell. My first of many problematic dates. The movie was directed by Charles Laughton. He's most known for acting, actually. It's mostly because this movie was not a financial success, so he never made the sequel he was planning or directed anything else, which stinks because I think this movie's pretty good. James Agee was the writer, and he adapted this from a book by the novel of the same name by Davis Grubb. Agee also wrote screenplays for The African Queen and A Death in the Family, which was released after his death. He was unfortunately only 45. The stars are Robert Mitchum, Shelley Winters, Lillian Gish, and James Gleason. Mitchum was most known for Cape Fear, The Sundowners, Angel Face, and the story of G.I. Joe. Winters was most known for The Diary of Anne Frank, Pete's Dragon, Poseidon Adventure, and A Patch of Blue. Gish was most known for the extremely racist The Birth of a Nation. Gleason is most known for Here Comes Mr. Jordan, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and he was also a talented playwright. The movie opens introducing us to Harry Powell, a traveling preacher with a variety of very dark secrets. He admits up front that he has killed 12 people, but that number is far higher by the end of the movie. Even with the murders, there's way more victims. Harry believes that God directs his path, a divinely guided path towards wealthy people that will be able to fund his spreading the word of God. This, of course, is a warped interpretation of faith, as he pretty conveniently forgets about the whole thou shalt not kill part of the Bible. Despite his murder history, Harry is not arrested for his killings, but he does get arrested for stealing a car. He is sentenced to 30 days in jail, where he encounters Ben Harper. Ben is convicted of robbing a bank and killing 2 people in the process. The $10,000 has never been recovered. That's because Ben entrusted the money to his children, warning them not to tell anyone. He intended for them to keep the money safe away from everyone else and use it. Ben is executed because it's the Great Depression and that stuff was pretty expedited. His family is left to bear the guilt of his crime. His wife Willa is struggling with the guilt and shame while doing her best to survive under a lot of pressure. She feels as though she nagged him to get money for the family and that it's his fault that he went out and did it. She works at a diner, but it's not enough. Her son is John, and he shoulders the majority of the weight of their father's secret, especially since he is fighting for his life to try and keep Pearl from telling everyone what is going on. To be fair, he's way too young to comprehend the gravity of the situation. When Harry comes to town, it's impossible not to notice him. He's driving a car because he apparently hadn't learned anything in the 30 days that he'd been in jail. He has tattoos across both of his knuckles, which I can't imagine was terribly popular back then. One hand reads love, one hand reads hate. A symbolic representation that he uses to illustrate the religious praise he holds near and dear. It's the eternal struggle of good versus evil, and he's pretending he's the good. The only person in town who remains unconvinced by him is John. From the very moment that they meet, John distrusts him instinctively, and that unease only deepens when he realizes that Harry is purposely getting closer to his mother. With no one to really confide in, John turns into his Uncle Bertie, a name that I'm not actually convinced actually reveals the relationship. Bertie is the only adult that entertains his suspicions. Everyone just dismisses him as a child that is grieving his father's death and doesn't know what's best for him. Meanwhile, Pearl is the one that is holding the very object that Harry is searching for. As John returns home, he notices from a visit with Bertie, he finds Pearl playing with the money that has been hidden inside of her doll. He quickly stuffs the money back into the doll and scolds her. Harry comes out, calling for them back inside when it clearly freaks John out. Harry takes on a parental role after marrying their mother, and when the children come back inside, he questions them. Pearl is stuck in the middle. There's a nice man who promises to be the father she lost, and an older brother whose warnings are both confusing and at times harsh. Despite her fears, she sides with John. Harry's patience snaps when Pearl refuses to reveal the hiding place. John had tried to warn his mother that Harry had been probing about the money, but she dismissed those concerns. That changes when she's outside and hears him for herself. After the children have gone to bed, Willa decides to confront Harry. She has come to realize the truth. He had played on her vulnerability and weaponized her guilt to just get into her life. She was manipulated into submission to Harry's version of piety. But Harry has no intention of letting her stand in its way, and there's money to be made. That night, Willa disappears. To explain her absence, Harry tells people that she had become a hopeless alcoholic who abandoned her children, leaving him to care for them, which he was going to do purely out of the kindness of his heart. Everyone seems to eat it right up, praising him as devoted and selfless for taking in those orphans. I'm sure that was the same story that he told the kids, only they knew the reality of his motivation. He had completely isolated the two people that know the location of the money. John never says what happened to his mother, but we can assume that he can piece it together. He knows that the situation is very dangerous. Meanwhile, Uncle Bertie makes a chilling discovery. While out on his boat, he notices something deep under the clear water, a car with a human figure in the driver's seat. It's a very creepy scene, but it's oddly reckless for disclosing evidence. But Bertie is so shaken that he just runs from it. And rather than alerting the authorities, Bertie turns to alcohol. He worries that if he goes to police, that he will be arrested, a reflection of the desperate realities and paranoia that came with the Great Depression. Back at the house, Harry's control tightens. He begins withholding food from them, declaring that they won't eat until they reveal the money's location. He enjoys the food, though, making their hunger another weapon. Always concerned that Pearl is just going to reveal everything and just crack under the pressure. And frankly, Harry lacks the patience required to manipulate children. His temper flares pretty often, revealing who he is as a person each time that John just refuses to give in to him. Harry's growing frustration becomes much more volatile. John lures Harry into the basement, where he and Pearl say the money is hidden in the corner under the dirt. It's all to get him far away so that they can run and lock him in the basement, although they do reveal that the doll is filled with money. Before he can get to them, the children make a desperate run for freedom while he is locked away. The first stop for help was Uncle Bertie because he had promised to help John. He is completely inebriated, incapable of understanding the danger or offering any real help. They can't get him conscious. The delay costs him time because Harry is nothing but relentless. John gets Pearl into Bertie's boat just as Harry closes in. The chase to get out on the river is tense, a sequence that had me stressed out. Honestly, these children in general have me so stressed out. They are so young and trying to survive a legitimately scary, he's successful. This is a successful serial killer. John rows with all his strength and to get space between them. And it works with Harry having to kill someone to steal their horse because he'd gotten rid of his car somewhat recently. For a time, the siblings just drift along the river, eventually taking refuge in a hayloft on a farm. But their safety is short-lived. John's heart sinks when he hears the sound of Harry's whistling in the distance, like he's never far behind. The children flee again, going downstream until their boat runs aground while they're both asleep. The siblings wake up to a woman named Rachel ushering them inside the house to tidy up. Rachel's home is no stranger to children in need. During the Great Depression, a lot of families were simply unable to take care of their own. For Rachel, guided by her unwavering sense of morality, she has made it a mission to give those kids a place to stay, a home, and she is their mother. For her, it's simply the right thing to do. It's a calling that she has answered time and time again, and she's not going to abandon these two. Pearl adapts easily to her new surroundings, her youth definitely benefiting her in the transition. John remains tense and guarded. Rachel senses the way that he carries and watches him closely, waiting for the moment when he'll finally unburden himself of whatever secret is gnawing at his conscience. One day, Rachel takes the household into town to trade goods. It's here that we can focus on Ruby. She has been pretending to go into town at night so that she can improve herself. I think it's like speech lessons or singing lessons. Anyway. But in reality, it's so that she can spend time with boys that hang out late as well. That evening, she follows through with her plans, unaware that Harry Powell had noticed her with John and Pearl earlier in the day. It's an in. John is, at this point, unaware that Harry has spotted them, highlighting how vulnerable they really are. Ruby proves highly susceptible to Harry's charm and falls easily. In her eagerness to be liked by him, she reveals everything that he needs to know. She says that John and Pearl are living at Rachel's house, which is also where Ruby lives. She confirms that Pearl clings onto her doll and doesn't let anyone near it, and that's weird. And she, of course, has no idea about the money hidden inside. Her casual possession provides Harry with enough information that he just leaves. When Harry arrives at Rachel's home, he attempts to use the usual religious charm that has worked and deceived so many people. There is a reason that John had resisted Harry from the beginning, and Rachel chooses to trust her gut and the child in her care. She interrupts Harry's pediatrics about his finger tattoos, and she's just like, I don't care. Like, what do you want? For John, the encounter is absolutely terrifying. He's looking at the man that murdered his mother and now plans on killing him and his sister. He tries to run and Harry moves to grab him. Rachel steps in with her gun in hand and makes it clear that she will not be hesitating to use it. Harry retreats for the moment, but no one believes that the threat will pass. That night, Rachel sits in a chair by the window with her gun across her lap, assuring the children of safety. To calm the children, she tells them the story of Moses. It might also be a strength in her bond with John. The parallel is unmistakable. John and Pearl floated into her life. They are helpless and in need of protection. Through the story, Rachel earns John's trust. Harry is relentless, as we already know. He returns to the house under the cover of darkness, intent on getting that doll. Ruby complicates matters by giving him a hint that he's about to get shot. But Rachel finds him when he startles a cat, which is what I'm choosing to believe is what happened. That tells Rachel where he is, and she unloads birdshot into his face while she has the chance. It's not a fatal wound, but he doesn't make it far, hiding away in the shed to try and avoid being shot any further. Law enforcement eventually arrives and then places him under arrest. John had been present the day that his father was arrested, and that memory of that trauma comes back to play as he's watching him get arrested. He's paralyzed at first, and then he is triggered into reaction. He grabs Pearl's doll, a source of so much pain for him, and just starts beating Harry with it. It sends the hidden money flying. It's a cathartic release of fear and anger as John is finally breaking down. There's also just like a huge relief he must be feeling that he doesn't have to keep running from this man. As details emerge, it becomes clear that Harry Powell's body count is far exceeding his admission of 12 at the beginning. In reality, he's suspected of marrying and murdering at least 25 women. He kills them simply for financial gain. The newspaper gave him the nickname of Bluebeard, and that's a reference to a story about a man who forbids his wife from going into the basement after they marry. He's away for a period of time as he goes inside finding the dead bodies of his previous wife and then being joined by them, or joining them. During the trial, John is called to take a stand and testify about his time with Harry. The experience proves to be unbearable for him. He can't talk, and he's just being stared at by Harry Powell. He's terrified of him, and that's just obvious. They really don't need him to testify, though, because the townsfolk have already decided that he is plenty guilty. There is no way that Harry is going to walk free, and that is the purpose. A lynching seems inevitable, and it feels difficult to argue with their conviction. Rachel shields the children from the spectacle. She may feel relief that Harry is no longer a threat, but she knows that seeing his violent end would only make the trauma of the entire experience that much worse. Even so, Ruby attempts to defend Harry, only to be firmly silenced by Rachel, so that they can leave and have some damn peace for once. The film ends several months later, during Christmas. Life is much quieter now. Her lost children take a moment to celebrate the season, and it's modest. It's just a reminder of the time period. Each one of the girls gifts Rachel a pot holder, which she receives with as much enthusiasm as the last. John silently offers a apple that he had taken from the other room, and it's the only thing that he can give her. Rachel accepts the gift with grace, and she gives him a watch. The scene fades out. There is a fragile sense of hope. You want to hope these kids will heal and that their future holds some peace. Maybe one day they can carry the weight of it all. The Night of the Hunter is very much a product of its time in terms of how scary it can get, which makes it a pretty easy watch for modern standards. While it isn't terrifying, it's eerie. Harry is deeply unsettling. He's a predator cloaked in piety, exploiting this widespread assumption that religious devotion equates moral goodness. The country was thrown into an absolute desperation to be manipulated by someone like that. He has the ability to move throughout the world because no one is really tracking anyone. Everyone is moving and trying to find work, and it's so easy for him to just slip in and out of town. But unlike him, Rachel's faith is sincere and grounded. She not only believes what is written in the Bible, but she believes in the inherent worth of his children, a conviction that fortifies her against someone like Harry and his corruption. The performances overall are strong, although Pearl can come off as grating at times. Not any shade to her, that's pretty par on course for a child her age. They can be annoying. The movie can be pretty striking at times. Nearly every scene featuring Harry in pursuit leaves you unsettled. His role really is just this relentless force of greed and evil. A lot more hate than the love he claims to have. He lingers, and the actor inhabits the role so well. For watching, my name is Amanda. This has been Horror Historian. So as a child, I would be toast because I'm a sucker. As an adult, I don't really listen to religious figures, so I probably would just be like, okay, sure, bud. Whatever you say, Harry.